Hello. Sorry, it kicked me off. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. If it does, do a comment on the video on the Facebook group. I'm gonna pull up the Facebook group on my phone so I can see everybody's comments and everything. Okay. Okay, sorry, I was playing the audio. Okay, so I am going to, or you guys can pop, if you RSVP, do you have that messenger chat? You can pop messages in there. But first of all, everybody, let me know if you can see me. And I'm going to share the slide deck. So if you can see the slide deck for the profitable podcast process, drop a comment in the video so that I know that you are able to see everything. You can see this. All right, awesome. Okay, so everybody says it's working. Okay, so first question I want to ask you guys is, does this time work for you? Is 10:30 a good 10:30 Eastern a good time for us to do these lives, or is there a better time for you all? Just so that I know for going forward. So just drop a comment and let me know if it's a good time for you or what time would be preferable, or if there's a different day that works better for you all, because I want to make sure that you guys are able to come to these live events and get your questions answered. All right, awesome. Great time. Okay, cool. All right, sounds good. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. There is a Q&A section at the end, so if you guys wait until the end to drop your questions in, or I can kind of scroll back through the chat and see what questions you guys are popping in as we go. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about the profitable podcast process. This is the exact process we use with our one-on-one clients to launch their podcast with profitability in mind. Make sure that from day one, their podcast is optimized for conversions. If you already have your podcast, don't worry, because these things can all be implemented after the launch. But with our launch clients, we like to do it up front so we know that we've got everything right and going in the right direction from day one. All right, so this webinar is going to give you a breakdown of the exact system, typo, that we use with our clients to keep them top of mind and optimize their content for conversions. It's going to show you how to grow and monetize your podcast. Okay, so we're going to be covering how to validate your podcast purpose and branding before you even launch, so that you know that your podcast is what your people want to hear. It's what is going to keep them coming back for more, and you don't ever have to question if what you're putting out there is going to convert or not. We're going to talk about the must-haves to optimize your podcast episodes for conversions. There's a lot of things that a lot of podcasters leave out of their episodes, and they're missing opportunities to turn those listeners into buyers. We're going to talk about how to systematize your reach and always be top of mind through a complete and cohesive promotion plan. Most podcasters go through and they are, they're putting their podcast out there, and they might be doing a social post or two saying the podcast episode is live. But really, when you have a podcast, it can be your full marketing strategy. You can use it as a piece of macro content and create a bunch of other pieces of content from that, so that you're everywhere all the time and you don't have to constantly be creating new pieces of content to post in different places. And lastly, how to turn your listeners into buyers, because that's what we all want, right? All right, so optimizing for conversions. Okay, we want you to leave the hustle behind. I do not. Hustle culture, bottom of my list of things that I like. We don't like to hustle in our business. We don't want our clients to hustle. We want our clients to live the life of freedom that they got into online business for. A lot of us are so used to that grind of the 9 to 5 that it's hard to switch from hustling into doing things in an effective, easy way that takes less time. It's just our brains have a hard time wrapping around it. I could do a whole TED talk. Anyways, so do you want to create instant authority, propel your business to multiple six figures, and leave the social media hustle in your past? Duh, of course you do. But how do we get there? We are going to create distinctive branding. This is going to act as the billboard for your business, so you stand out from day one. It sets you apart from the other people who you might view as your competitors, and make sure that when people go to find a person who does whatever you do, whether it's website design, SEO, life coaching, health coaching, any of those things, that your brand stands out. We're going to show you how to create showstopper content. This is content that not only leaves your listeners coming back for more, but also when it's posted on social channels, stops the scroll and gets people to want to engage with you further and move further down your funnel. And then lastly, my most favorite thing, 360 promotion, how to use that one podcast episode as your full marketing strategy. Okay, distinctive branding. The branding for your podcast acts as your billboard. It attracts the right people, gets their attention, and makes sure that they become aware of you and start looking for you everywhere. So this branding is going to show your people who you are, why they should want to work with you. It really sets you apart from all of the other people out there and shows people if they are aligned with you or not. Okay, this slide is kind of text heavy, but I didn't want to leave anything out. Okay, so the only way to creating branding that attracts your ideal client is validation. It's not about creating a new catchy phrase or finding the perfect fonts or colors. It's about validating your branding with your people so that you know that you're attracting the right people from day one. And I mean, I love fancy colors and fonts and pretty things as much as everybody else, but this form of branding that we're talking about here is really focused heavily on keywords and market research, finding what your listeners and your potential clients want to see and hear from you instead of what we like and what we think is pretty. We want things that are going to attract them. Okay, so here's why it's important. Online business owners have been able to create distinctive branding with our hype validation technique. This technique validates your branding, finds what attracts your ideal clients, and builds hype around your podcast. It creates instant authority and success for your podcast because your audience is excited for your launch. They feel like they are part of the process and that your podcast was custom made for them because it was. And the constant guesswork of trying to put together your podcasting puzzle becomes non-existent because we implement a proven strategy that ensures all of the pieces of your podcast are working cohesively to get you the best results possible. So from day one, when we start working with people, we have them asking their audience questions about certain key terms. We'll drop phrases and say, like, what does this phrase make you think about? How does it make you feel? What emotions does it elicit? What are you struggling with right now? All of these questions are going to give us the information that we need to then transfer that verbiage and those things into your podcast brand so that we know that we're talking directly to your audience. We're not guessing at what they want. We're not making assumptions. We're giving them exactly what they need. All right, showstopper content. Having amazing content is the most important thing when it comes to turning your listeners into buyers. You need to create content that establishes your authority, builds relationship, and turns those listeners into raving fans. Why do you need showstopper content? Your podcast content needs to be specifically designed, another typo, to draw new listeners in, turn them into raving fans, and convert them into buyers. How? The only pathway to achieve this holy grail of podcasting is to consistently publish wow-worthy showstopper content that leaves your listeners begging for more. It's not about topping the charts or being the number one business podcast on Google. It's about finding your people and building a relationship with them through podcasting so that they're ready to buy. If I see one more post about somebody topping the charts in the business category on Apple Podcast, and they think that that's like the epitome of podcasting. It's driving me over the edge, because topping the charts, all it literally means is that you had an increased number of downloads for a short period of time, which translates to unsustainable short-term growth. And most of those people probably weren't aligned with your podcast, because they usually do some kind of crazy marketing scheme where they tell everybody to go listen to the episode and they're going to send them something free. Or I've even seen people like, they have like they have robo calls. It's like robo listens. So they spike these listenerships and it puts you number one on the charts, but it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't translate to sales in your business. It doesn't translate to people who are building a relationship with you and want to invest in you. It just translates to a short-term spike in listenership. And most of those listeners are probably going to drop out because they're not your ideal audience. All right, here's why it's important. This strategy finds exactly what your listeners want to hear, what content will keep them coming back for more, and precisely what you need to say in order to convert them into buyers. This creates a steady stream of ready-to-buy leads, which means that you can say bye-bye to the constantly networking in Facebook groups and sending cold DMs. If you have amazing content for your podcast, people are going to come through your funnel, through social media or wherever, and they're going to find the podcast. And your podcast is going to be having conversations with your ideal client without you ever having to talk to them one-on-one. This podcast establishes know, like, and trust like no other thing. When we get cold DMs from people at this point, everybody's like, do not DM me. Like, I don't want to hear from you. Like, if you cold DM me, I'm not buying whatever you're selling, even if it's what I really need, because it just feels so spammy to us, because it's just too much. We're constantly getting cold DMs. Nobody likes it. So the new way that you can build those relationships without spending your time talking to them one-on-one, and it's actually more effective, is to publish these podcast episodes. Even though the podcast episode is a one-sided conversation, it's just you talking or you talking to a guest, and the listener isn't actually involved in the conversation, they still feel like they are. Like, have you ever been listening to a podcast and you laugh at something somebody says, or you are having like an internal monologue talking back with them? It feels like you're having a conversation. And when you're releasing weekly content, people know, like, every Wednesday I wake up and I'm going to drive my kids to school, and on my way back, I'm going to listen to this podcast. And it becomes part of their lives, part of their daily routines. They look forward to it every week, and it leaves them wanting more and more from you, which ultimately, of course, makes them more likely to invest. All right, I'm talking too fast. I got to take a drink of coffee. Okay, 360 promotion. This is my most favorite thing about podcasting. Okay. This is something that really sets our strategy apart from the other podcast agencies, marketing agencies out there. Through our 360 promotion strategy, we allow you to say bye-bye, see you later to the social media hustle. We formulate a customized promotion strategy that will not only bring more listeners to your podcast, but will also increase your social media following, your social media engagement, your Google ranking, all of those things that we want to see. All right, so how do you implement it? So let's get real. You're probably so burnt out on social media right now because the algorithms are changing, ad costs are through the roofs, and honestly, who has the time to spend hours each week creating social assets and scheduling them and all of the things? We know that in order to build a really successful business, we have to be everywhere, and we have to have a 360-degree promotion strategy. But how can you do this without spending hours of your time? We do this by repurposing your podcast content, which means that you don't have to add more promotion and social media tasks to your to-do list. If you are doing our one-on-one services, we do this for you. If you are DIYing, you're literally going to replace all of those marketing efforts that that you're doing before, like still do your lives and stuff. Like all those things are awesome. The things that bring you joy, but the things that don't bring you joy, you're literally just going to repurpose your podcast episode into those things and send it out the door so that you're not having to write new captions. You're not having to do all this crazy back end work, come up with new ideas. You're taking your podcast, you're turning it into all these different assets so that you're everywhere, you're top of mind. People are seeing you. It's driving them back to the podcast where they're going to build relationships. So it's a whole cycle that you're sending your audience through. It's not just about promoting your podcast. We're building your online presence as a whole and creating engaging content that will bring your audience further and further into your funnel. We're making sure that you are at the top of their minds so that when they're ready to take the next step, you are who they invest in. All right, here's why it's important. The constant questions of what should I post become non-existent because each week we're providing your audience with fresh and engaging content all pulled from one podcast episode. This allows you to become an always present source of knowledge and entertainment for your audience. And you're able to build know, like, and trust with them, all while taking your audience into the next step in your funnel. Okay, so wrap it all up. The all-inclusive podcast conversion method, which is what we just went through, builds your revenue, increases your reach, creates authority, and upgrades your brand. Imagine being able to use your podcast as a marketing system that has potential clients coming to you instead of you coming to them. You can say goodbye to marketing and Facebook groups all day, every day, sending cold DMs. You're going to use your podcast as one piece of content that's cohesive, that is going to bring people into your funnel. It's going to have you at the top of their minds, and it's going to build a relationship with them so that when they're ready, you're who they come to. All right, so if you had the strategy in place, what would you be able to do? Would you finally be able to take a break from the social media hustle and launch a new offer, spend more time working with your clients, travel and enjoy your life without having to stress about keeping up with your social stuff, spend more time with your family? What would you be able to do? Let me know in the comments. All right. Oh, and Q&A. All right, so I have it up on my phone, so hopefully I'm able to see it. So if you have any questions about what we just went through, drop it in the comments for me. I know it's on a little bit of a delay, so I'll give everybody a second. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think it's brilliant. All right, no questions? Okay, if anybody watches the replay or anything, post your questions in the comments and I will go back and individually answer everybody with a video and kind of show you what the answer is so that it's more individualized. Yes, this is what we offer via the membership. So in the membership, we will have all of the information for all of these steps. So it's going to show you how to do your branding, how to find that information from your clients. It's going to show you how to script episodes, what all needs to be included in those episodes to make them optimized for conversions. We're probably even going to put in like intro and outro scripts and description templates because those things are really important and I want you guys to have everything that you need to be successful. And then also we're giving you the best part of the membership is we're going to give you all of the Canva templates, all of the how-to videos for the social assets. So we're talking audiograms, videograms, how to make reels, TikToks, YouTube stories, shorts, YouTube shorts for the for your podcast, story templates, post templates, quote templates, literally all of the things, so that all you have to do is plug in your branding, plug in the information for your episode, and then you're good to go. Schedule it and you're done. We're going to give you the full strategy, A to Z, on how to do a full branding, content, and social strategy for your podcast. Okay. The membership, right now we're in the beta, which is super exciting because that means that you guys are going to get to kind of shape this with us. So if you ask for something, if something's not clear in one of the trainings, if you want more templates on a certain thing, we will do that for you. So beta, super exciting. You get to kind of build it with us, and it's only $30 a month. So super duper cheap right now. We're gonna close the doors on Friday probably. I might let a couple of people trickle in over the weekend, but we really want to create a solid first group for this beta, get everybody through it, get all the content out there, and then we will relaunch it again in a couple of months, and the price will go up. It might even double depending on how much we put in there. Okay, yes, I will drop the link for the membership down in the comments when we get off of here. Also, if you have not launched your podcast yet, we're doing a super cool deal where if you buy our DIY Your Podcast Launch course, you get 3 months of the membership for free. If you do the Podcast Launch Mastermind, you get 6 months for free. And of course, if you have us, our lowest one-on-one package doesn't include all of the social things. So if you come on for our one-on-one services, then as long as you're under contract with us, you get access to the membership for free. So if anybody's interested in those options, you can send me a DM, and I can send you all the information for that. The podcast launch course is $500, and then the mastermind is $3,000, and it's a 3-month long process. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Giving it a second to catch up. Okay, yes, I will DM you all of the details, all of the things. All right. Well, we kind of already got into my next slide. Okay, well, we'll do the summary because the next slide is the offer. Okay, so you deserve to have a podcast that builds your brand and establishes you as the authority. You enjoy to bask in the glory of having an endless stream of leads that your podcast provides to you on autopilot. If you choose to invest in this membership, you won't have to worry about spending hours networking on social media. Your podcast is going to do the work for you. Imagine having all of that time that you spend on marketing back to spend more time with your family, relax, take a vacation, do all those things that you want to do. It's all possible when you have distinctive branding, showstopper content, and 360 promotion. All right. Take the next step. Okay. Next step is all of those things that I just broke down for you. So if you haven't launched your podcast yet, you have 3 options. You can do the DIY course. You can do the mastermind, which the mastermind is us going through auditing, kind of coaching you through the podcast launch. And it gives you everything that you need to also manage your podcast after we're done working together. So, and you have us for 3 months, and you get one-on-one calls that whole time with me or Shannon, where we're going to walk you through everything that you need to do. We're going to answer all of your questions. So, and it depends on like how long it takes you to launch. If it only takes you a month to get through the launch, then we're going to help you with all those management pieces on the one-on-one call. So it's kind of self-guided and up to you how that works. And then again, you get 6 months of the membership for free. The DIY course gives you everything that you need, all of the trainings, all of the videos, but it does not include the auditing and one-on-one piece. And with that, you get 3 months of the membership for free. And then there's the one-on-one services, which is you record the audio, we handle the rest. And with that, as long as you're under contract with us, you get access to the membership. So if anybody wants more info on that, you can always send me a DM. And again, if anybody has any questions watching the replay, first of all, if you watch the replay, put #replay in the comments so I know that you were here. And then post any questions you have and I'll do videos responding to you. And I will drop the link for the membership in the comments as well. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.